You're giving people hope that it's possible.
Sometimes I felt like I wasn't disabled enough to provide an actual perspective on it.
Whatever your perceived weakness is, you want to lean in on it, because the more that you go off and do it, the more it gives permission for others to do it too.
My question is, and that's what I'm doing research at the moment about, is if you have to choose between why and action, like the fact that you do something, what's more important? What would you prefer? What would you prioritize?
I'm curious, why are you doing research on this? Like, what's the driving factor for you to
That
ask that question?
I think it has some personal reasons because I think I found my why, but it's constantly evolving. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and someone once told me, "Oh, I don't know my why, but I'm successful anyway, so I just do my stuff. I don't need a reason for doing it, you know." So, and that's why, yeah, that was the moment that arose the question, and it really interested me because um, there are so many people in the world, you included, who, motivate us every day and say, "Go, get out there, work hard, hustle while you wait," and
Mm-hmm.
and I just thought, if you really had to choose between the two things, what would you prioritize?
And what's your why right now?
So I'm an actor,
Yeah.
and the good thing about acting is that you constantly ask yourself why as well. Like, why do you say the line, or why? And
Mm-hmm.
I'm one of the few actors with a walking disability, and I always wanted to act. And my death sentence, so to say, was always perfection. So I always
Mm-hmm.
wanted to be perfect. I would always wanted to be uh, the perfect actress, the perfect woman, and I came to the point where I just couldn't. And especially, I'm German born, and in Germany, acting schools are they have difficulties with accepting disabled students because they say it's not possible to educate them. And I came to the conclusion that it's that imperfection that I have, and that weakness in a way, that I want to just show people that you can, in your disability, in your weakness, you can find your strength and your gem.
Yeah.
And yeah, I found my purpose in a way, but it's constantly evolving. Like, also, I want challenge people to look deeper in stuff and into people, because if you pass people by on the street, you don't know what's going on in them.
Mm-hmm.
You you know, and
Let me ask you this: what moment in your life did you feel was you felt the most worthless,
the
the
most
most weak ever in your life? What was like the moment that you would never want to have to experience again? What happened?
it was during my teenage years. I
Yeah.
got into a very deep depression because, especially in puberty, you look at your body, and I realized that I wasn't as normal as the other girls and the other
Mm-hmm.
people in school.
Yeah.
And the other moment was actually a year ago, and that's the moment you came in, because it was someone in January, and I was in New York that year. I moved to New York, and I've been crowdfunding my tuition and my whole education, my year, and the living expenses, everything. And that moment, I was sitting in New York, and I couldn't pay my rent, and I couldn't pay my tuition. I was lying on the floor in my tiny apartment, and I thought, okay, what am I gonna do now? Because I started going. I'm on my way. I can't go back. So I came across your channel, and I literally inhaled everything, and it was like medicine in a way. That time, I already had a community of, I don't know, not a big one, like uh, a couple of hundred.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I feel like it's so important that you have a community that trusts you. And they did, and they said, "Oh, we can help you out again." So everyone gave again, and we could, manage to pay for my course, my education, everything. But I remember that moment. I was literally lying on the floor, and I didn't know what to do. And I knew that I had to keep going because I've already started going. Um, so, I couldn't just say, "Okay, I quit. I'm sorry, people. You invested in me, but I won't be the next Academy Award winner with a disability. So I'm very sorry." And I knew that I couldn't do that because I started. I had to keep going. I started going, you know?
Thank you for sharing. Thank you
Yeah.
for going through the vulnerability exercise and being willing to put that out there. And that's difficult and that's brave. I believe that your purpose or your why comes from your pain. And so whatever great pain that you went through, why I asked that question, you want other people not to have to experience. Your greatest joy in life,
Mhm.
the thing that will fill you up the most, is when you help people who are right now going through what you went through and hated.
Mhm. Mhm.
So if there's somebody else who's trying to feel like they are normal and they have a disability and they talk with you and you help them see that they're special and they smile, like that'll fill you up incredibly. Like you can't even explain how great you feel because of that. And so that why will never change. Like that's your purpose for life. That will always feel. You'll be 90 years old, and if you see somebody who's going through that pain and you help them, you'll feel great. It'll never change. It's great. Like it's amazing to have that clarity.
Mhm.
And it almost always comes from the most painful moment in your life. So it's great. Now, the how will change a lot. How you do that will change. Like right now, you're doing Instagram. Great. We're doing Instagram live. Hopefully the message reaches some people. Maybe
Yeah.
somebody has a disability or knows somebody with a disability, and then they see this and it sparks something. But in 5 years, it might be you being on a big screen and winning some award, and that is the inspiration for somebody to get started. And then in 10 years, maybe it's you coming to people in virtual reality or holograph versions of you, and like who knows where
Like
the future is
after.
going to go. The
Mhm.
how will change a lot with time, but the mission will never change. You'll be fueled by this forever.
Mhm.
And so back to your original question of what's more important, the why or the how or the what, whatever it was, it's like action or the why. You need to have both. If somebody only has a why but they don't take any action, nothing's ever going to get done. And if you are taking action but you don't have a why, then what are you taking action for? You're gonna feel like you're living an empty life. I'm a big believer in, I call it the 595 rule, where it's 5% of your time planning, 95% of your time doing.
Uh-huh.
There's work to figure out what your why is. There's work, like
Yeah,
this exercise we just went through, and you found it pretty quick. Maybe because you went through the vulnerability exercise already, or maybe because you've been thinking about this for a while. Like
yeah.
even before you started this, you were a mission-driven person. Like you're lying on the floor in your apartment. I can't pay the bills, but I have to keep my mission. I want to be an inspiration and make it as an actress and help everybody who has a disability recognize that they too can go off and win. There's work to figure out your mission, but once you do that, when you found your why, you don't have to question it again. Like you know what your why is. Now you're spending the rest of your life on the action.
Mm, that's true.
So the rest of your life is now about the action. And what's the best way to combine what you love doing? Like there's lots of things you can do to spread that mission, but you won't enjoy doing lots of them.
Mhm.
So forget the ones you don't enjoy and lean in on the ones that make you come alive. And that action will continue to evolve over the years, right? From Instagram to big screen to, virtual reality and whatever else is coming next,
Mm.
you know?
You would always put your why first.
Well, I would start with why. I like the idea of starting with why, but in isolation doesn't do anything. There's lots of people. This is where I come in a lot because why I'm doing this tour. There's tons of people who have a strong why. I love entrepreneurs who are mission driven. They want to make a change somehow in the world for the better, but they're
Mm.
just not doing anything. Like thinking and researching and sitting on the couch and going on the internet. Like, it's not enough. You have to do. You got to take action.
Yeah.
So many people are afraid to take action. You could want to be the first uh, actress with a disability to win an Academy Award, but if you're not going to acting school, if you're not going to Hollywood, if you're not putting in the work to doing it, to investing into yourself, your why never happens.
Yeah,
So
that's
you need
true.
both.
Yeah.
It starts with why, and that's just a small piece. Like again, once we figured it out, your how will change a million times. There'll be a
Yeah.
million different hows. It's
Mm.
awesome. As a result of this conversation, what's your next action?
My next action would be rethinking how to serve people better,
Okay.
because I really want to challenge people to look deeper into each other, and I really want to make this two groups in society, the disabled and non-disabled. I want to merge them together, because if you look at inclusion and all that, there are so often disabled people get uh like the mascot for inspiration and stuff without doing anything. And
Okay.
I just want to tune it down, and just want to, make both groups in society understand one another a little bit better.
So let's work through that. You want to rethink your strategy? Let's rethink it together.
Okay.
So I think for people who don't have a disability, the people with a disability is not like, if I think about myself. So I don't have a physical disability. I don't think about people with this disability in my daily routine, in my
Yeah.
daily life. So
And
how do you put it on my radar, and how do you make me care? It's not that I don't care. It's just not something to think about because I have a million other things to do.
yeah. And that's
Right?
also it, because I have cerebral palsy. I just walk a little bit different, you know. I'm
Okay.
not really I don't need a wheelchair. I'm very fit in a way. I mean, I like if you talk about your morning routine, I have a really strict morning routine with gym and everything. So, and that's another thing, is that so often I talk to foundations and to people talking about disability, and I felt like I wasn't. It sounds harsh, but sometimes I felt like I wasn't disabled enough to provide um, an actual perspective on it, because I felt like I was the bridge between the disabled and the non-disabled, because
Okay.
all of my friends say once you spend time with me, you forget about my disability, because I'm just,
Great. So you're the
the
perfect
person,
person then.
you know?
You need to get over that thought of I'm not disabled enough. Because listen, there's always going to be somebody who's more disabled to the point where
Yeah,
they can't even talk and even have a message to spread because
yeah,
they're in a hospital bed all day long and can't do anything, right?
yeah.
There's always somebody more disabled. I
Yeah.
think, how much are you creating content?
I started setting up my own YouTube channel in September, but
Okay.
I was stuck with that too, because I started telling stuff about my life, that I just moved to LA and how things are going. I talked about school, but I somehow uh, also during Christmas and the New Year, I thought about creating something of value. I really wanted to create something of value for people, and um, talking about my life wasn't. It bored me in a way. So I'm also figuring out how to create something of value for people.
Well,
That
it's just that. It's showing me be the bridge. In all the
Yeah,
different examples where you're the bridge or you see somebody being a bridge, then you share that,
yeah,
right? So for me, I think whatever your perceived weakness is, you want to lean in on it because the more that you go off and do it, the more it gives permission for others to do it too. So you going off and being an actress,
yeah,
uh, where it's not, I don't know, does any actress have cerebral palsy? Maybe I don't know of one, but I'm
probably,
not
yeah,
deep into Hollywood. But you even just trying, even if you don't get it, even you trying is an inspiration for other people to go try their own thing. Like maybe they want to be a skater or they want to be a esports gamer or a rapper or something, and they have the same thing. Doesn't mean they have to go be an actor.
yeah,
You're giving people hope that it's possible. And
yeah,
so with me being introverted and not wanting to be famous, and then going off and doing it and saying that I'm nervous before going on stage and speaking gives permission for other people to do the same thing. Like I want to show how to win as an introvert. And I don't know how to do that. I'm trying, like I'm on my path and people can follow me as I do it. So
mm,
same thing with you, showing the journey, showing what you're up to.
yeah,
Not just like, hey, I woke up this morning and I'm eating an apple for breakfast and you
yeah,
know, that's not that helpful.
yeah,
But take me on the journey of you're gonna go out and try out for you got some work to do, you got a presentation to do, you're gonna go to an audition.
yeah,
What makes it difficult for you versus somebody who doesn't have cerebral palsy. So showing me what you have to deal with and how you don't complain about it, you just do it. And maybe it takes you 8 times longer to do something because you have cerebral palsy. You know, maybe there's some things that just take you 8 times longer. And so
Yeah.
show me you doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're still going to do it. And you're not saying, oh, I'm not going to do this because I have this disability. No, I'm going to grind my way through it. You know, and that can give
Yeah.
inspiration to other people. So like that, daily content, Instagram, I would start with. YouTube, you can grow to. But I think that's how you start inspiring people to live with their conditions and recognize that in some circumstances, it can actually be a strength instead of a weakness.
Mm.
If you want to spend some one-on-one time with me, I have a special offer happening right now. Go check out the website right next to me. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.